are we all doing today? Oh, one person's good. How about the rest?
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard Savannah Safari Tours, proudly supported by South African Tourism. Now, there's nothing more thrilling than seeing wild animals on safari in a place like South Africa. And today, we're going to give you just a little bit of a taste of that with our safari here in Dubbo and some amazing animals we're going to talk about and have get up nice and close to. So my name is Jacob and I'm going to be your driver and your guide. And as we are heading around, I do just have a couple of things to mention. Firstly, this bus is equipped with seatbelts. We do ask that whilst the vehicle is moving, you are seated with your seatbelts fastened, as it does get quite bumpy out there, and it is my sworn duty as a tour guide to hit as many bumps as I can, to give you that authentic experience. You are most welcome to take photos as we are heading around on Savannah, but I do just ask that you keep your hands, arms and legs and everything else inside the vehicle at all times. That way you're not going to lose anything out the window. If you do happen to drop something on the Savannah, please let me know straight away, as I do need to contact the keepers to come and grab your belongings, hopefully before the animals start to play with them. The animals do like to move around on the Savannah, so I'll do my best to get as close as I can whilst remaining on the pathway. And if any of the animals do come right over to the side of the vehicle, I just ask that you resist the urge to touch them. There are some very large animals out there with big heads and big horns, and they do not like being touched, which means they are going to start swinging their heads around, which will result in a trip in the ambulance. Now we are going to be stopping at each of our species to have a chat about them, and when we do so, once the vehicle has stopped moving, you are welcome to stand up so you can get a bit of a better look, just making sure you are seated again with those seatbelts fastened before we move. But with all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Savannah Safari! Da 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 da. Now the first species we are going to talk about is going to be on the left-hand side. It is the second largest species of antelope in the world, known as the common eland. The only larger species is that of the giant eland. Now by looking at the horns first, both male and female eland have those horns. So we can actually utilise the horns to determine the gender. The body, work down their body temperature. Another use of the julep is to help against predators. Most of the time when a predator goes in for the kill, they're going to grab onto the neck, hoping to damage the jugular vein, which is a life-threatening injury. The hope for the eland is that the predator will grab onto that julep and not the neck, and it might give them a few extra seconds to get away, which could make all the difference between life and death. Now we do currently have the keepers in the area, which means the animals are going to be moving around because the keepers need food. So I'll do my best to move around as much. And off to the right hand side we do have the blackbuck. Some of the blackbuck going for a bit of a run there. Some of them have what is affectionately known here as the zoomies. We might be able to get a little closer up a bit further. There's the keeper's vehicle. They're just going around currently doing a bit of a check, looking up nice and close at the animals, making sure there's no injuries, no marks on them, nothing like that that needs to be treated. Any notes, anything of note like that. We'll keep on moving around. As we do, the areas off to the left-hand side are our night yards for the Savannah. All of the animals here at Taronga Western Plains do have access to night yards, so if they wish to, they can go inside to get away from weather or away from the people. And as you look around the area, you'll see there are a lot of large stumps, large rocks and large piles of dirt for our animals to enjoy. So the giraffe in particular enjoy the taller stumps, as they can stand over the top of them and give themselves a nice belly scratch. What we have are some very lovely large piles of rhino poo, known as a rhino midden. But these are not being left here because the keepers are being lazy. They're actually here because it's very important to the social structure of rhinos. It is their version of social media. So rhinos, they do leave messages in their poo, and before going to the toilet they will smell the poo to see what messages others have for them. The hope for the males is that they will be able to smell there is a female nearby, and more importantly, a female in cycle ready to breed. And if they are lucky enough to smell that, they're going to swipe right and go running, hoping to be the first. So make sure you have a good smell to see what messages our boys have left for you. But as we do have some of our blackback nice and close, we'll talk about them now. They are a very cute species of blackback, but they're also a bit of a lie on the savannah. As they are not African, they are actually Asian. But we do have them out here as a bit more of a comparison between our different antelope species sizes, and they would represent something similar to your springboks or your gazelles. Now blackback are what is known as sexually dimorphic, which means that by just looking at them, you can tell a male from a female. Now I can tell that these four that we're looking at right here are females because they do not have any horns. But when you look out, you'll see the horns of the other ones there, and you'll notice some of the horns are in the air, some are curled behind their ears, and some are a bit more twisty. And this is how the keepers can identify the different males amongst the group. Now, blackbuck are a herd animal, so they do live in a group, and they will groom each other to keep that nice shiny coating. But they know if they go off by themselves, they are a very easy target for predators. So they do tolerate being around each other for that safety in numbers. Now off to the right hand side near the vehicle there we do have our beautiful white rhino boys. Their names are Winston and Humphrey, and they are 7 and 8 years of age, and they are brothers. Now rhinos live by the motto of charge first and ask questions later. And this is due to the fact that rhinos have got incredibly poor eyesight. They can see 20 to 30 metres in front of them, and anything past that is a blur. So they do rely heavily on their senses of smell and hearing to know what's around them. Now does anyone know what a rhino horn is made of?
Wheels.
And do you know what the actual substance is? It is keratin, yes.
No.
Now keratin is the same stuff that makes up our hair and nails. But even to this day, rhinos are still being poached for that horn, as there are many cultures that believe that rhino horn has many medicinal purposes, meaning it can cure lots of different diseases, as well as being an aphrodisiac. What we like to tell them is that you get the same benefit from chewing on your own toenails. It is made up of the same stuff, costs a lot less money, and gives you the same health benefits, which is zero. Up next on the right we do have a very beautiful species known as the scimitar horned oryx. They get their name because their horns look like scimitar swords. Now as beautiful as this species is, they are actually extinct in the wild. So the only place you can go to see this particular species is in facilities such as this one for the purposes of creating those breeding programs and insurance populations. Now oryx live a nomadic life, so they do travel around quite a lot. And some of the areas they travel to are very hot, dry and arid areas, but there's not a lot of water. So to deal with this, the oryx have got a rather clever technique. So we humans can withstand very minimal changes to our internal body temperature before things get dangerous. But the oryx can naturally raise its body temperature to around 46 degrees. And by doing so, they do not lose any excess liquids, and it allows them to potentially go up to 10 months without taking a drink of water. But this does pose a threat to overheating their organs like the brain. So to counteract that, they've got a series of capillaries in their nostrils. So as they breathe through their nose, the blood passes through these capillaries and cools down as it makes its way up to the brain, cooling down their organs and allowing them to withstand these very hot, dry temperatures with very little water for as long as they do, without the risk of dehydrating or overheating. As we have one of our beautiful elands come over to check out what's going on. We do have some of our blackbuck now on the left hand side. But as we come around the corner here, off to the right hand side we've got our two very handsome male ostrich. The darker of the two is our older male, his name is Hondo. And the one with more white through the feather is our younger male, and his name is Namin. Now I can tell they are male ostrich because they have those jet black feathers, as opposed to the females who have more of an ashy brown colour. And unlike the Australian emu where it is the males who look after the eggs, both the male and female ostrich will take turns. So the females sit on the eggs during the day where their feathers will blend into the environment around them, and males of the night time where their feathers will blend into the darkness of the night. Now when you are looking at the legs of a male ostrich, you'll notice their shins are a different coloration. So when a male is trying to impress a female, what they do is they pump the blood through the shins a bit more, make it more of a vibrant coloration. They will then start to do a bit of a dance, moving their legs up and down really fast, saying, "Look at my shins." Now when ostrich does not have a female ostrich to dance with, they have been known to dance for other species. So our older male Hondo, he likes to make his way past the safari lodges to see what's on offer. And we're told he has a type. Hondo does like himself a blonde woman. So any blondes on board who like Hondo's number, let me know. I'll talk to the keeper, see what I can sort out for you. Now we are going to make our way to the other side of the savannah, and we're going to talk about our remaining species once we get there. Now one of those species we're going to talk about are the giraffe. And when you look at all of our giraffe, you'll know that some of our giraffe are a different colour. So all 7 giraffe on the savannah, they are males, and they all originate from the Rothschild breed. So that difference in colour actually comes from something else. The darker the giraffe, the more testosterone they have pumping through their body. Now for a giraffe to reach the ground is very awkward, as their necks are actually shorter than their front legs. So in order for the giraffes to reach the ground, what they've got to do is spread those front legs very wide, almost doing the splits, in order to get their heads low enough to... The zebra have one which is specific to them, which is known as a dazzle of zebra. And when most animals will use their colours and patterns to blend into the environment around them, you'll notice even from a distance